KAPOW, Liz Benny back here with an incredible dose of the Happy Millions show. And for those of you that are listening and you were like, what was that noise in the background? Hi, I'm Liz Benny. I make cool noises, or at least I think they're cool, as I am speaking the truth as it comes through me. Now, for those of you who don't know me, hey, I'm Liz Benny. I'm a happy millionaire, the founder of the Happy Millions Revolution, and my goal in these episodes is to speak truth into your heart, your spirit, your soul, your bank account, your impact account, so that you can live life on your terms. And in this particular episode today, I'm going to be talking about an identity shift that I had to make in order to step into my truth, in order to step into my peaceful power instead of my struggle self. And I'm really excited to share this with you. Part of me is like, where am I going to go with this episode? Because I've got some bullet points that I'm going to go with here. But to be honest with you, I like to riff a lot more and just see where the wind blows me with this conversation. And for those of you that have slightly gutter minds, yes, you can laugh at, anything that I say along the way, especially when the wind blows me. Anyway, here we go. Hopefully you are laughing right now. In this particular episode right now, I'm going to be talking about the identity shift that changed abso-freaking-lutely everything for me. And I'm kind of a little bit apprehensive. To be very honest with you, I've already tried to record this episode for you. This is the third time around. And I think there is a little bit of fear that's in me right now. Like, holy crap, am I really going to be this honest with people? And you know what? Like, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. We're all here for a short time. So I'm going to pat myself on the back, literally, and just continue, because there is someone, or there are some people that need to hear what it is that I'm about to say. So once upon a time, I quote unquote made it. I became a millionaire. It was incredible. It was amazing. And around that time, it was a period of time where I had so much financial resources, and I still do, don't worry. I'm not one of those stories that was like, yay, made it all, lost it all. I vowed and declared that I would never lose it all when I made it all. I went slower than a lot of people, so I never had to quote unquote lose it all. And then, I didn't want to do that journey at all. But what happened with me was I quote unquote came up, I made it all. It was incredible. And then that gave me a good period of time to reassess what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, learn new skills. And it was a great period of time where we got to use those finances to support the spiritual, emotional, and trauma healing of my wife, Christy, who was abused by her father when she was young. And that played out into her self-worth, and it played out into her, our connection, our ability to, go out and impact the world, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it also, like, I had my childhood trauma, my childhood stuff that I needed to work through as well, to make sure that I wasn't being a little kid running a 7-figure company, which, gosh, there are a lot of people out there that, hopefully they realize sometime that there is a child, their inner child is running their multi-million-dollar company. Anyway, I digress a little bit here. So in this period of time, we took some time off, like, pushing. I didn't have Facebook ads running, and people were like, Liz, where are your Facebook ads? And I'm like, hey, I'm not running them right now because I'm doing referral-based work. It was incredible. It was amazing. And I was going deeper with KAPOW and unearthing more about how KAPOW was going to assist entrepreneurs in stepping into their truth and becoming all of themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that I wasn't experiencing my own stories about becoming a change agent in the world as well. Because one of the biggest blessings of having a transformational company and leading a transformational movement like I do is that I must transform, or else I'm radically out of integrity. There are people out there who actually lead movements where they're not actually drinking their own Kool-Aid. But anyway, that's fine. That's for another day. For me, I lead with integrity, and it must mean that I go first and I test everything out on myself. So this is where I say to you, there was an identity shift that I had to make. And now I help people step into this and step through this identity shift, because it's a must. It's an absolute freaking must. And you right now listening and watching this right now, whatever medium you are consuming this information, please know that if you want more, if you want a higher level of income, impact, peace, happiness, harmony, bliss, often it can be, and this sounds too easy. It can be as simple as choosing. And for those of you that are, oh gosh, Liz, I heard it all before. She's just telling me to choose it. I'll tell you this right now. When I had my moment of bawling my eyes out, sitting on my toilet in my brand new bathroom, bawling my eyes out, saying, I can't do it this way anymore, to my amazing wife, I reached the point where my struggle story had to stop. My struggle story had to stop. My struggle story meant that even though I was well and truly financially, safe and solid and secure and all that sort of stuff, I still was holding on to a part of my story that was out of alignment with me leading with radical embodied integrity. And that was not okay. What it showed up as in my business is that I was still utilizing marketing strategies that were forcing me to do things that I didn't want to do, like challenges. And because, apparently that's what I should do, let me put on a challenge. Let me have all the upsells and the downsells and the hooks and all of this sort of stuff. And then, oh, what do you think of this? And I would externally be out there all the time. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And I would be looking for external validation of the strategy to make sure that I was right, using the right strategy. Whereas I'd learnt all the strategies. I didn't need any more strategies. I just needed to listen to myself and play a higher game. Play a higher game of Liz Benny. Play a higher elevation of me. So instead of trying to become me and trying to get to the finish line and trying to look good in the eyes of other people and trying to, get the next award or whatever it was, instead of trying to, I just decided to stop that and step into my truth. Period. Step into my truth. Period. What that means is in that moment I became her. What that means is that when I became her, I didn't need to seek external validation about, like, what do you think about the strategy? Right? And I just hired a coach, and I am very clear that I do not want strategy. I do not want strategic assistance in any way, shape, or form. I am there to play in an arena of people who are doing life at a different level. So my soul can play with the vibrational energy in there, and I can hear conversations that are higher elevation conversations to the conversations that I've been having. I do not want strategy. I do not want strategy. I do not need to be seen as the brightest person in the room, period. I'm not trying anymore, my friend. I am me, period. Now, for those of you who are like, yeah, but Liz, tell me how, tell me the strategy. And I literally had a call with a client this morning. She was like, this is great, this is incredible, but how? And this person in particular was having some big stuff around trust. And I said to her, because she said to me, how do I trust? And I said, trust. She was like, yeah, but how? And I said, lean into trusting yourself. Now, she'd been let down by a great many people, which sometimes makes a person feel as if they can't trust their own judgment, their own ability to discern, their own, processing power. But here's the thing, is that a former version of her was a version of her that needed to learn and had the opportunity to learn what it felt like to not trust her own intuition, because there were times that she was let down by people that she knew that they were bad eggs, and she didn't listen to that. My point here, my friend, is there is a version of you that is a person who already knows that you're incredible. You know this right now. You already know that, like, that you're amazing, you're incredible, you're a high achiever, you are special, you're already there. You already know that. And if you're anything like the people that I see come through the KAPOW movement, you have probably been trained to look for the next strategy, look for the next hook, look for the next offer, look for the next thing, look for the next step in your funnel, look for the next Facebook ad that is going to be the Facebook ad, look for the next agency, look for the next thing, and these are all external. You don't have to look externally for your next step. You need to become the person who gets it, who is it. I stopped struggling when I went, I don't struggle anymore. I am ease. I embody ease. I have ease. I do not work hard. I stopped working Mondays. I stopped working Fridays. I have those as no call days whatsoever. You cannot get on my calendar on Monday or Friday. I stopped saying yes to too many things. I stopped fearing rejection. I stopped fearing what people thought of me. I set a new standard for myself. I became the person that holds myself to a higher standard, period. That's it. I don't hustle. No freaking thank you. And I allowed myself to embody my own truth. To embody my own truth. And it was scary. Because when you embody your own truth, it kind of feels like you're out there on your own. But it's incredible what happens when you, quote unquote, go it alone, and when you trust yourself enough to be like, I am enough. I'm enough. And you connect to energy that is for you and with you, instead of turning you into the resisting version of you. You don't have to fear so much. You don't. I say that knowing that that's massive. Like, you don't have to fear so much. You genuinely don't. And it sounds massive and it feels massive sometimes, but like, you don't have to fear so much. There is a lot out there that would prove that point otherwise. I know that. Media, inflation, like politics, all of this sort of stuff. Wars. And my friend, as a highly sensitive person, empath, like high achiever, like I know how hard it can be to be like, yeah, but Liz, it's not just a simple thing of going, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not asking you to not care. I care a lot about what's happening in the world. But I can't live into the fear of that. It helps no one. And I can't, and I choose not to anymore, live into the fear of the fabrication of the stories that I was telling myself about the struggle street and how I needed to show up in the world, and all the pressure that I was putting on myself when, for goodness sake, I was well and truly safe. But I was telling myself that I wasn't, to keep myself on this hamster wheel of nearly there. Nearly there was a feeling that I had for years. Nearly there. I'm nearly at the next level. I'm nearly at the next bank account level. I'm nearly at the next level of, status on my airline. I'm nearly at the next level of blah, blah. I'm nearly there, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. Far out. Nearly there is a horrible place to live. There is yummy. When you get there and you become her, him, it just is. You're there. You've arrived. Arrived in your body, in your power, in your truth. And is it going to be perfect? No, I'm not professing for this to be perfect. I'm saying that when you allow yourself to embody the power for you, the person who you're not professing to be perfect. I'm not professing to be perfect. You don't have to profess to be perfect. You don't have to have your shit together all the time. You are just the embodied version of your highest truth. You don't suffer fools. You get your stuff done. You respect yourself. You put up boundaries, which I've been doing left, right, and center. As I've elevated, I needed to put up more boundaries with the past. Nope, that is not me anymore. And it's really funny because what will start to happen is if you see yourself, for example, if you're a coach or if you're someone who is a healer, for example, if you see yourself as an invisible helper, this is a really good way to explain this. If you see yourself as an invisible helper, you will undercharge. And I've been there. I'm like, I'm the best kept secret. Woohoo! Guess what the benefit of that identity was for me? I got to stay safe. I got to help people, but not get paid for what I was worthy of being paid for. But then when you see yourself as a lighthouse and a movement maker and an elite mentor, and I mean elite as in not better than other people, but just someone who is your caliber, your whole world rises to meet you. And what happens when that happens is your customers, your clients, they rise to meet your caliber, the stronger, more embodied version of you. And yes, for those of you that are watching me right now, I am looking at some notes that I wrote to make sure that this was powerful for you. And for those of you that are looking at me and go, oh my gosh, she's looking at notes, please be mindful that if you are requiring me to be perfect in my delivery, you are judging yourself and speaking to the part of you that requires you to be perfect in all of your delivery as well. And I say that as a person who has judged other people when they've read stuff. Putting my hand up and saying, hi, I've been judgmental. So how did I make this shift? It's really important. Like, how did I make this shift? Well, part of me was reluctant. And part of me genuinely didn't actually want to let go of that because it was safe to be small. But I had to, I had to allow myself that there was a possibility of a different way of creating results that allowed me to step into a higher, more embodied, higher vibrational, higher fun, higher freedom version of me. And it didn't have to have all the crap that I was fearing that it needed to have along the way. So I stepped into a version of myself that was a higher future version of myself. And gosh, that was fun. Incredible and amazing. And I created future self messages and for myself and listened to them. It's actually part of what I teach a lot of my clients. Anyone that works with me right now, we work through the deep inner work and create a future identity for yourself now based on things that you know that are true and right and real for you. And I started to literally indoctrinate myself as to who I am, how I show up. This is how I do life. This is what my boundaries are. This is how my weeks work. This is how I travel. This is what I do. And it's incredible what happened. My world responded to my shift. My world responded to my shift. And it was as simple as me choosing me choosing my truth, me choosing a deeply embodied version of Liz Benny that I always knew was there. Chances are, if you're listening or watching this right now, you know that there's a higher version of yourself. You know there's more. You know you're capable of more. You know you can be more. You know you can, yes, achieve more. But by the same token, you also know that you can receive more. This is something that I teach my clients. When they come to calls, I say, what would you like to achieve and or receive? There's nothing wrong with achieving things. Achievement energy is kind of masculine energy. Nothing wrong with it. Receiving energy is more feminine energy. So that's why I say, what would you like to achieve and or receive on this call, in this hour, in this week, during this month? My friend, there is a version of you that probably hasn't played into the highest possibilities yet, right? I challenge you, I absolutely challenge you to step into this person as soon as possible. Life truly is short. It really, really, really is. And that's not me saying, or wishing ill upon anyone, or, I want you to have a beautiful, long and fun and free and fulfilling life. I really, really, really do. And in the grand scheme of things, whether you live to 90, 100, 80, 82, whatever you're going to live to, it's still short in the grand scheme of things. And so many people waste so much of their life living in a possibility that is lower than what you're capable of. You have the ability to shift and change this. You really do. I love you. You're incredible. I hope this was amazing for you. If you want to reach out and ask any questions, please feel free to email me, liz@lizbenny, and we'll take it from there. Lots of love. See you.